But
kids.
if only she knew the storm that
I
was
know,
coming.
right?
Sister, she said, her voice sweet like honey. Come, I want to show you something downstairs. Lara hesitated. Now? It's late. It won't take long, please, Amma insisted. Lara smiled, stood up, and followed her. She didn't see the faint trace of water glistening on the grand staircase below. As she stepped down, 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, they said blood is thicker than water. But that night, her sister proved her wrong because of a man. Once upon a time, in a wealthy kingdom, there lived a king and queen who had 2 beautiful daughters, Princess Lara and Princess Amma. Lara, the first daughter, was like the morning sun, warm, kind, and loved by everyone. But her younger sister, Amma, that one's heart was dark with envy toward her sister. When they were little, you could hardly tell them apart. They played in the palace gardens, wore matching dresses, and listened to bedtime stories from their mother every night. The palace servants often said, "These 2 girls will rule the world together someday." But as the girls grew, something began to change. Lara's kindness only deepened with age. She was the kind of princess who would stop to help a child fix her doll or carry an old woman's basket through the village. Her smile alone could brighten a cloudy day. Wherever she went, people cheered, "Princess Lara! Princess Lara!" Children would run to her. Even the palace guards adored her. Amma watched it all. The laughter, the admiration, the songs of praise, and each smile directed at her sister felt like a dagger in her heart. She wanted respect, power. She wanted people to kneel when she passed, not gather around her like she was one of them. To her, Lara's humility looked like weakness. It started with the small things. Amma would roll her eyes when Lara stopped to talk to villagers, or sigh loudly whenever her sister offered a helping hand. But those small moments of envy began to pile up. Before long, her resentment wasn't just irritation anymore. It had become something dark, something dangerous. Amma watched in frustration as Lara befriended the villagers, treating them as equals. The villagers would gather to sing her praises, leaving Amma feeling neglected and overshadowed. In her frustration, Amma would often storm off without a word, leaving Lara behind in the village to walk home alone. Each time, Lara would watch her sister's angry retreat with a soft sigh, then continue speaking kindly to the people before heading back to the palace on her own. "Why do you talk to them like that, Amma?" she once said after watching her sister chat with a group of market women. "People should be worshipping you, not flocking around like you are one of them." Lara smiled softly. "It doesn't hurt to be kind, Amma. A good heart rules longer than a golden crown." But that only made Amma's blood boil more. She hated how calm and soft her sister always was. She hated that no matter how rudely she acted, Lara never got angry. Time passed, and both sisters blossomed into beautiful young women. Then came the announcement that changed everything. Lara had been betrothed to Prince Harold, the heir to the neighboring kingdom of Ezurana. It was a royal tradition. One daughter from their family must marry into the Ezurana royal line to strengthen the alliance. Because Lara was the first daughter, she was chosen. When Amma heard the news, her heart shattered into 1,000 sharp pieces. "Of course," she muttered bitterly. "Lara gets the prince. Lara gets everything." Lara, unaware of her sister's growing bitterness, tried to share her happiness. She would sit beside her Amma in her chamber and talk excitedly. "Amma, he's so gentle," she said one evening, smiling dreamily. "He listens to me like every word I speak matters. You'll love him when you meet him." But Amma stood up abruptly, hissing. "I don't care about your prince," she shouted, slamming the door behind her. Lara sat quietly, her smile fading. She whispered to herself, "She's just upset. She'll come around." But Amma never did. One afternoon, the queen called Amma for a private talk. Her mother had noticed the cold looks, the sharp words, and the way Amma's smiles faded whenever her sister entered the room. "Amma," the queen began gently, "why do you treat your sister so harshly? What has she done to you?" Amma crossed her arms, her voice trembling with anger. "Why does she get everything, Mama? Everyone loves her, you and Papa too. Whenever gifts come, she chooses first. The people worship her, even her fiancé is perfect. And me, I'm invisible." The queen sighed deeply. "My daughter, Are you jealous of your sister? Jealous? Me? God forbid. I just hate how she pretends to be perfect so everyone will praise her. Why do you speak of your sister with so much hatred? What has she done to you? You used to be so close. Your father and I love both of you equally. Yes, we let her select things first because she's the elder sister. But we always make sure we buy things for both of you. Your sister is betrothed to Prince Harold because it's tradition. One of you must marry from that family, and we chose your sister because she's the first daughter. Here we go again, elder sister. That's why I'm always neglected, Amma murmured. We love you, Amma. I know you will marry a handsome prince someday, my daughter. Lara's joy comes from her heart. You must find your own happiness, not fight hers. Stop being hard on yourself, my child. Your sister loves you. Be nice to people and they will be nice to you in return, okay? Her mother advised, but it still didn't change how Amma felt about her sister. Amma turned away, muttering, "You'll never understand, Mama." That night, she cried quietly in her bed. But even in her tears, her heart hardened more. Months passed, and Prince Harold's father had died, and the prince was preparing for his coronation, but tradition demanded he must marry before being crowned king. The date was fixed. The palace glowed with preparations, golden drapes, dancers rehearsing, and royal cooks working day and night. Lara's smile could light the entire kingdom. She often went to Amma for advice on the attire she would wear, not knowing that she was pouring love into a heart filled with envy. But then, something changed. Amma suddenly became sweet. She helped pick out Lara's wedding beads, her fabric, even arranged the maiden's tasks. For the first time in years, the sisters laughed together while planning the wedding. Lara was overjoyed. She thought, finally, my sister has forgiven me. Maybe everything will be fine now. But if only she knew the storm that was coming. On the eve of the wedding, the moon hung high above the palace like a silent witness. Lara sat brushing her hair when Amma entered, smiling softly. "Sister," she said, her voice sweet like honey. "Come, I want to show you something downstairs." Lara hesitated. "Now? It's late." "It won't take long, please," Amma insisted. Lara smiled, stood up, and followed her. She didn't see the faint trace of water glistening on the grand staircase below. As she stepped down, 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, her foot slipped, the world spun, her scream echoed through the palace halls. "Ah!" Amma gasped dramatically. "Guards, help! My sister fell!" The palace erupted into chaos. Servants rushed out and the royal doctor was called. Lara's leg was twisted badly, swollen. She cried in pain as the doctor shook his head gravely. "My king," he said, "her leg is fractured. It may take months before she can walk again." The king's face turned pale. The queen wept silently. Everyone knew what this meant. The wedding had to be cancelled. Amma sat in her chamber that night smiling to herself. Her plan had worked perfectly. No one suspected her. After all, hadn't she been the helpful sister the whole time? The next day, Prince Harold and his kingsmen arrived, expecting a celebration. Instead, the king broke the news. "My daughter has been injured. The ceremony cannot hold." Prince Harold stood up sharply. "Injured? How?" When they explained, his face twisted in disgust. "I cannot marry a cripple." "How will the people see me?" he said coldly. "Find another bride or I will marry from another royal family." The hall fell silent. The elders whispered among themselves before one of them spoke. "To avoid delay, let the younger princess take her sister's place." Amma's heart skipped. Her dream, the crown, the throne, the title, everything she wanted was right there in front of her. Before anyone could object, she accepted. And just like that, she married Prince Harold, the man meant for her sister. Lara wept quietly in her sickbed as the drums of celebration echoed through the palace walls. That night, the moon looked down on her tear-stained face as she whispered, "Maybe this is how my story ends." But fate had a plan. During the coronation, Prince Harold stood proudly before the crowd, his new wife beside him. The chief priest lifted the royal crown, chanting the ancient words of blessing. When he tried to place it on Harold's head, it wouldn't fit. The priest frowned, tried again. Still, it wouldn't stay. The crowd murmured. Something was wrong. Then, the priest stepped back, his body trembling as the spirit took over. He began to chant, spinning slowly, his staff striking the ground. The air grew thick. Finally, he pointed at Harold. "This man," he said in a deep voice, "is not the true son of the late king. The crown rejects him." The crowd gasped. Princess Amma froze. Harold turned pale. "What nonsense is this?" he barked. But the priests continued. "Your mother carried you for another man before marrying the king. The gods have spoken." The queen of Ezurana fell to her knees, crying. "It's true," she sobbed. "I was 3 weeks pregnant when I married the king. Please forgive me." Chaos broke out. Amma collapsed, screaming, "No, no, this can't be." Harold pulled away, shaking his head in disbelief. That very day, the elders stripped Harold of his title and declared his younger stepbrother, Prince Kene, the true heir to the throne. As the royal family of Ezurana went through cleansing rituals for the abomination, news reached Lara's palace. She had slowly begun to recover. Miraculously, her leg healed faster than expected. Prince Kene came to visit. Unlike Harold, he was calm, wise, and gentle. He admired Lara's heart and spirit, and over time, the two fell in love. When the day came for Kene's coronation, he chose Lara as his bride, and this time, the crown fit perfectly. The people rejoiced, not just because a new king had risen, but because the kind-hearted princess who had once been broken was now queen. Not long after, Amma returned to the palace, her clothes worn, her face pale from shame. She requested a family meeting. Before everyone, the king, the queen, and the court elders, she fell to her knees and confessed everything. "I poured the water. I made Lara fall. I wanted to take her place. I was jealous. I was foolish. Please forgive me." Her mother gasped, holding her chest. "Amma, how could you be so wicked?" But before she could say more, Lara stood up slowly and said, "Mama, please, I forgive her. If I hadn't fallen, I wouldn't have met my true destiny." There was silence, then tears. That day, the elders decreed that Amma and Harold should live as ordinary villagers, far from the palace walls. They were given a small house where they lived out their days in regret. Lara, now Queen Lara of Ezurana, often sent them food and gifts, though she never saw them again. And so, this story reminds us that jealousy is a disease that eats its owner from within. Amma's jealousy led her to destroy her sister's joy, but in the end, it destroyed her own. Lara's kindness, forgiveness, and faith brought her not just peace, but the crown meant for her all along. Because in this life, no matter how long it takes, destiny will always find its way. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.